a gnawing feeling of inadequacy that festers in the heart, a shadowy whisper that says, "You will never be enough," a cold knot in the stomach whenever someone else shines, an invisible chain that keeps pulling you back into comparison. What am I? Jealousy. In the first reading from Numbers, the Lord tells Moses that he will send some of his Spirit on the 70 elders. 2 of them weren't there. I have no idea what Eldad and Medad were doing, but I'm sure some comics have come up with some great one-liners, like, "Sorry, I overslept. That rock I was sleeping on was just too comfortable." "Oh, you said when the sun was just setting to meet behind that sand dune? I was behind that one." Anyway, they are seen prophesying, even though they weren't among the gathering, and Joshua is threatened by it. He's saying, "Moses, make them stop. They weren't with us." Joshua was jealous. He'd been with Moses from the beginning. Eldad and Medad are rocking it out prophesying, and Joshua's like, "Hey, you can't do that. You weren't there, so snooze, you lose." And I have to admit, this is hard for me too. I am very competitive. I have to be the best at everything I do. Ask the guys that I play golf and pickleball with. It reminds me of a time when I was a little boy. I think I've shared this before. I was 4 years old, and now I'm glad we sent the children off to children's liturgy because I don't want to give them any ideas. My mom took me to visit her friend in the upstairs apartment while I played with David, her son. We were in the bathroom, and my mom hears us from the living room. I say, "I bet I can get mine higher than you can get yours." Of course, my mom comes running because she has no idea what on God's green earth that could mean coming from the bathroom. They both arrive to find every wall covered with toilet paper wads. We were making balls, sticking them in the toilet, and seeing who could stick it highest on the wall without hitting the ceiling. That was at age 4. I was already competitive. It's always been that way, with everything. Sports, certainly, games, celebrating Mass, preaching, being a pastor, the best confessor, everything. I have to admit it's no fun publicly confessing one of my sins, but there you go. It has taken me a lot of prayer and spiritual direction and personal work to come to this conclusion that I am about to share with you. Now listen closely, because this is very important for any of you that struggles the same as I do, and as Joshua did, and as John did in the gospel. And it is this: God made me. Doesn't sound very earth-shattering, does it? And you might be thinking, I hope you didn't pay too much money for that. But think about it more deeply. God made me. God gave me gifts and talents. God is God and I am not. But God didn't give me every gift and talent. God made me athletic. Thank God for that one, because I like sports. God made me kind. God made me want to serve, but God didn't make me thin with the perfect body. And yet God didn't make me with great musical talent. And God didn't call me to marriage. And God didn't make me with this or that. But God made me this way, with all my talents and lack of talents. And God made you to be able to say, God made me shows that I am okay with God being in charge. I might want to be the best preacher or the best golfer or whatever, but God decided what I needed, and I have learned to be okay with that. Does it stop me from trying to be the best at everything? No way. Ask my pickleball partner. But when I fail now or lose or give a clunker of a homily, I know I did my best. The best with what God gave to me. But Moses is saying, would that all people were prophets. The more the better. Jealousy, on the other hand, is ugly. Jealousy is insidious. To be jealous of another is simply a lack of self-confidence and doubt in the gifts that God gave to me. It is saying, God, you didn't make me how I should be. I want that. A beautiful young concert pianist was performing for the first time in public. The audience sat enthralled as beautiful music flowed from his disciplined fingers. The people could hardly take their eyes off this young virtuoso. As the final note faded, applause swept through the audience as they all rose to their feet. Everyone except one elderly man in the front row. The pianist walked off the stage crestfallen. The stage manager praised his performance. I was no good. The performance was a failure, he said. And the manager said, but look out there. Listen to those applause. They loved you. Everyone is on their feet, but that one elderly man in the front row. I know, he said. He's my teacher. There's only one person in life that we must please, and that is God in heaven. He's right there. He died for you. He made you. He loves you. Keep striving for greatness and love yourself with the same intensity that God does.